All right, as I told you before, we run integration tests of a real database, but we don't want this database to be the same as our development or production database. Because in our integration tests, we're going to add or remove documents from this test database. So we don't want to mess up with the data that we have in our development or production environment. So in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to set up a test database. First, we go to our configuration folder. Let's go to default.json, add a new key here. Let's call that database. And we're going to set that to our default MongoDB connection string. And then we'll override that in our configuration file for our test environment. So let's go back to db.js. Here is our MongoDB connection string. I'm going to cut this from here and put it in default.json. Make sure to remove the single quotes. So this is what we should have. Now I'm going to copy this key and add it to test.json as well. So let's add a comma here and then change the connection string, change the database name to Vitli_tests. Okay. Now finally, we need to go back to db.js, load the config module. So require config and store it here. And then we'll dynamically read the connection string based on the environment in which our application is running. So we call config.getDB. This is much better. Now we can take this even further and replace this MongoDB with our connection string. So I'm going to change this to a template string. And here we add $ curly braces, config.getDB, or we can extract this into a separate constant so we can reuse it in both places. So constant db, and then our code is cleaner. So we connect to DB and also display its DB here. So now when we run our application, you can see we're connected to our development database. And when we run our tests, you will see that we will connect to our test database. So let me simulate that. I'm going to set node env to test and then run node index.js. Okay, here is our test database. Next, we're going to write our first integration test.